Bismillah. Read. وكذلك عد السور لأن ذلك ليس من أعمال الصلاة. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. What you understand from that? ويكره أد الآه والتسبيحات باليد في الصلاة وكذلك أد السور لأن ذلك ليس من أعمال الصلاة. What is saying there? Right. So what he's saying is that, let me translate. It is makruh wa yukrahu addul ayi. It is makruh the counting of the verses wa tasbihati and the tasbihat bil yadi with your hand bis salati in the salah wa kadhalika addu suwari and like that also the counting of the surahs لأن ذلك ليس من أعمال الصلاة because that is not from the amal salah. So what he's saying there is to use your full hand. Look at me, just to like this, to put your fingers like this here, like you say, subhanallah, subhanallah. That is not a problem. Like you press on each finger. Yeah, they say you use your whole hand. Maybe what it means making me like this. That's why they say bil yadi. You understood it. Carry on. مراعاة لسنة القراءة والعمل بما جاء بسنة, right? So وعن أبي يوسف narrated on the authority of Abu Yusuf rahimahullah ta'ala and Imam Muhammad rahimahullah ta'ala لا بأس بذلك في الفرائض والنوافل. They say in a faraz namaz and a nafil namaz, no problem. You can use your hand. You can use your full hand to count the tasbihat you are making. You can use your full hand to count the amount of verses you're reading. Why? Mura'atan li sunnati al-qira'ati. To give consideration to the sunnah qira'at. You say, how else are you going to read the sunnah qira'at? We know, we discussed this before. Qisari mufassal, awsati mufassal, tiwali mufassal, etc., etc. How are you going to calculate how many verses are you reading? How are you going to calculate how many tasbihat you're making, etc., etc.? So you can use your hand. You understood that? And it's mentioned here also in the Shara that this, all of this is taken from they say al-daruratu tubihul mahdhurat. Al-daruratu tubihul mahdhurat. That necessity makes an impermissible thing permissible as well. You understood? Understood that day? So we answer, we say كل لا يمكن أن يؤد ذلك قبل الشروع فيستغني عن العدة بعد والله أعلم. So Imam Hanifa answers and he says, look here, you can work out before the time already that this surah has got so many verses, etc. And you can work out before the time that I have to read so many tasbeehs, etc. It's not necessary for you to count it in the salah, right? But now again, I qualify, see, you must look at that word there. وَيُقْرَوْ أَدُّ الْآهِ وَتَسْبِيحَاتِ بِالْيَدِ. This is when you use the whole hand. Yes, when you just use the fingers, you press on your fingers or something, then there's no problem. That's why it's said here in the Sharah, in the commentary, it is mentioned here that the fact that he said bil-yadi shows that when you use the hand, it is makruh. But when you use the fingers, it is not makruh. You understood that? And the reason why we say this is not from the a'mal of salat. It is munafi. It goes against the a'mal of salat. And in the commentary also they mentioned there that the fact that Imam Quduri, this is the ibarat of Quduri, is a ibarat of al-kitab. Quduri is also called al-kitab. The fact that is mentioned there that this is the ibarat of Quduri or this is the ibarat of al-kitab, etc., etc. it is quite clear that this is, if it is done only with the hand, if it's done with the fingers, then it's not a problem, right? So, alhamdulillah, that brings us to the end of that fasal. The things that are makruh in salah, may Allah Ta'ala accept it from us. May Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the ability to practice upon it. Now, you got what you got there next, just fasal. So, the next fasal, okay, faslun, yeah. So, the next, so I don't have this in my kitab, but you got a faslun. Say again. Yeah, the chapter with regards to those things that are makruh out of salat. Chapter with regards to those things that are makruh out of salat. So here thus far we discuss all those things which in salat is makruh. Now we're going to discuss those things which are makruh, but they're not in salat. They're related to salat. They are related to salat, but they are not in the salat itself, right? Right. So the reason why it's brought what salat, because in some way or the other they are related to salat. Okay, read Bismillah. Right. So this translates wayukra, it is makruh. And remember in the Hanafi books, when you get makruh, mutlaq makruh, it means makruh tahrimi, which is closer to haram. So it is makruh tahrim, it is close to haram. Istiqbalul qiblati bil farji, to face the qibla with your private part while you are relieving yourself. So this shows you when you are relieving yourself. And here the Hanafi madhab is general. Whether you are in a building, whether you are out of a building, whether you are in a desert or whatever, it is makruh that when you are relieving yourself, that you must be facing the Qibla. So those people that are building their houses, etc., they must make sure that when they are positioning the toilet, etc., that the toilet does not face the Qibla. And obviously, if you are buying a house also, then you must see that the toilet doesn't face, or maybe you're visiting somewhere. In fact, there was one masjid in PE, yeah, right in PE, where the toilet was actually facing Qibla. But alhamdulillah, I see they've now changed it. So whether you are buying a house, whether you are building a house, whether you are visiting somewhere, you need to make sure that you do not face the Qibla whilst you are relieving yourself. Yes, if the toilet is already built there, then you must try to sit in such a manner or angle yourself on the toilet in such a manner that you do not face the Qibla. There's a hadith, in fact, where it was, I think, Abu Ayyub Ansari said that we went to Sham, we found the toilets that were facing Qibla. So what we would do is, we'd use a toilet, but we would sit at a different angle, right? So carry on reading. وَيُكْرَهُ إِسْتِقْبَالُ قِبْلَةِ بِالْفَرْجِ. So it is makruh to face the Qibla. Farj normally refer to the front organ, right? في الخلاء, in the bathroom. لأنه عليه السلام, because Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam naha an ذلك. He prohibited from that. Carry on. Right. So, wal istidbaru also means to face with your back. That when you are relieving yourself, your back shouldn't also face the Qibla. Wal istidbaru yukrahu fi riwayatin. And to face your back towards the Qibla is also makruh in one riwayat. Lima fihi min tarki ta'zimi, because in it you are leaving out respect for the Qibla. That you are relieving yourself whilst your back is facing the Qibla. Carry on. Okay, let me explain to you. What they're saying there, according to one riwayat, for your back to face the Qibla is not makruh. Why? Because see, if you look at your hind organ, your back organ, it actually doesn't face the back, it faces downwards. You understand what I'm saying? So it's only your back that's facing the Qibla. And also when you are relieving yourself, when you're expelling the dirt and the filth from your body, from the back organ, it doesn't expel it in the direction of the Qibla. It expels the dirt towards the ground. You understand what I'm saying? That's what he's saying. وَلَا يُكْرَهُ فِي رِوَايَةٍ. In one riwayat, it is not makruh for your back to face the Qibla. This one riwayat. Why? لِأَنَّ الْمُسْتَدْبِرَ. Because the one who's facing with his back towards the Qibla, right? فَرَجُهُ غَيْرُ مُوَازِنِ الْقِبْلَةِ. His farj means his hind organ, his back organ. غَيْرُ مُوَازِن. غَيْرُ مُوَازِن. Or you got muwazin or mawazin? Yeah, it's like, right? لأن المستدبر, the one whose back is facing the Qibla, right? فرجه غير موازن للقبلة. His back organ is not facing the Qibla, right? وما ينحط منه ينحط الأرض. Whatever falls out, comes out, it falls down straight towards the ground. It is not it's not expelled in the direction of the Qibla. Like there's a hadith that says, when Nabi Sallallahu said, "Man tafula tijah al-qiblati ja'a yawm al-qiyamati bima tafula." That person who purposefully spits in the direction of the Qibla, he will come on Qiyamah day with a spit between his two eyes, right? So here, according to this riwayat, you are not expelling the dirt in the direction of the Qibla, right? So وَمَا يَنْحَطُ مِنْهُ يَنْحَطُ الْأَرْضِ بِخِلَافِ الْمُسْتَقْبِلِ. Contrary to a person who is facing the Qibla, because when you're facing the Qibla, obviously you are expelling the dirt, you are expelling the filth from your body in the direction of the Qibla, right? لِأَنَّ فَرَجَهُ مُوَازٍ لَهَا. Because his private organ, it is facing the Qibla. وَمَا يَنْحَطُ مِنْهُ يَنْحَطُ إِلَيْهَا. And what comes out from there, right, it goes into the direction of the Qibla. Okay, let's do some time read another ibarat. لأن سطح المسجد Okay, so first remember, according to us, when a place is declared a masjid, for example, this place here, we're going to declare it a masjid. You make mutlaq intention that this is going to be a masjid. Then in the Hanafi madhab, we say that from the ground right up to the heavens, and as far as you go down, that will be masjid, right? That's when you make a mutlaq intention. Yes, when you make a different intention, you make a muqayyad intention, you say that that only till the roof is a masjid. That's a different masla. This masla here refer to where you make a mutlaq intention that this whole area is a masjid. So naturally, what is above the masjid will also be what? Will be a masjid. So because of a masjid, it must also be respected like a masjid. So وَيُكْرَهُ الْمُجَامَعَةُ فَوْقَ الْمَسْجِدِ. To have relationship, husband-wife relationship on top of the masjid, right? فوق المسجد. والبول, to urinate. والتخلي, to excrete above, is not correct. Why? لأن سطح المسجد له حكم المسجد. Because the surface of the masjid, لأن سطح المسجد, the roof of the masjid, له حكم المسجد, it has the same law of the masjid. حتى يصح الاقتداء منه بمن تحته. To such an extent, it is permissible to prove that the top of the masjid is part of the masjid, that if a person is on top of the masjid, he can follow the imam at the bottom. So what does that show you? It's part of the masjid, right? لأن سطح المسجد لا حكم المسجد حتى يصح الاقتداء منه بمن تحته. To such an extent, it is permissible to follow, right, minhu, from it. يعني minhu refers from the top, بمن تحته, who is below. ولا يبطل الاعتكاف بالصعود إليها. If you can go to the top of the masjid without leaving the masjid. Some places it happens as such that the staircase of the masjid is out of the masjid. So if you want to go to the top, you have to go out of the masjid and you have to go to the staircase. That's a different scenario. Here we're saying that the staircase of the masjid is in the masjid. Assalamu alaikum. So if the staircase of the masjid is in the masjid, or there's some way you can get onto the top of the masjid without leaving the masjid itself, then there's no problem, because you remember when you leave the masjid, then your itikaf become null and void. So وَلَا يَبْطُلُ الْإِتِكَافُ بِالصُّعُودِ إِلَيْهَا. The itikaf will not become void بِالصُّعُودِ إِلَيْهِ, by going to the top, right? وَلَا يَحِلُّ لِلْجُنُوبِ الْوُقُوفُ عَلَيْهِ. And then, because the top of the masjid is also part of the masjid, it is not permissible for a person in halat janabat. What is halat janabat? A person in ceremonial impurity, a person had a husband-wife relationship, we had a wet dream or something, to go on top of the masjid, because that is part of the masjid, right? Carry on. Right. So one is a place which is a masjid proper. It has been declared as a masjid, right? And one is like you have a place, it is used for masjid, but it is not a waqf masjid. It doesn't come out of the ownership of the owner. Like if this is my place, you say, okay, we're going to read salah, I'm not making it waqf. Or like in your house, you have a room, you say, we're going to use this room for masjid. Now that is not a waqf masjid. So you're saying, وَلَا بَأْسَ بِالْبَوْلِ فَوْقَ بَيْتٍ فِيهِ مَسْجِدٌ. There's no problem to relieve oneself فوق بيت, above a room فيه مسجد, where there is a masjid. As I told you, this does not refer to a waqf masjid which has been made, which comes out of the ownership of the owner and enters the ownership of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? وَالْمُرَادُ, when we say here, what is meant by this? ما أُعِدَّ لِلصَّلَاةِ فِي الْبَيْتِ, that which has just been prepared for salah in your house, لأنه لم يأخذ حكم المسجد, because it does not take the law of a masjid proper, right? وَإِن نُدِبْنَا إِلَيْهِ, even though we are encouraged to do that. You are encouraged like that. Every house must have a specific room that has been prepared for salat, etc. Every shop, every place. So you're encouraged to do that, but that is not a waqf masjid. Tomorrow, if I decide I want to use it for a bedroom or for a lounge, I can do that. But a masjid, which I say, I'm making this a waqf masjid. Inshallah, this will be discussed. You'll do this in Hidaayah also. What is a waqf masjid? So once it's a waqf masjid, it comes out of the ownership. So here we're not speaking about that which comes out of the ownership of the owner, but rather something which is just being temporarily used as a masjid, but at a later stage it can be used for another purpose. Okay, let's stop there, inshallah. May Allah Ta'ala accept. May Allah Ta'ala make them as shifa. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta